Hello out there folks, hope you're all doing well. In today's video we're going to be looking at multi-class racing against the AI in rFactor 2, and more specifically how to choose exactly the cars that you want, or exactly the cars to build a grid out of that you'd like to race against. So for instance, you may want to have a race using 3 different types of cars just to check the speed differences. So you might want one F1 car, you might want one little Clio hatchback and one GT3 car. Now, I know some people are struggling with how to do this. I, in fact, had a phone call just today from my mate Pete saying that there was no way to do this because if you try and do it, rFactor 2 will choose cars at random and you won't know what you're getting. Well, I'm pleased to tell you that I was able to show him a way how to do that, and he's very happy now with that, and I hope you're going to be as well, because I'm going to show you how to do this, because I've seen on the forums multiple times that people have problems with this. I did do a video on this about 2 years ago, but that was of course with the old rFactor 2 UI, which has moved on a long way since then, so we're in the current UI of rFactor 2. So let's get to it. First of all, you want to come over here to single player, and what I'm just going to quickly do is I'm going to get rid of my face so you can see the whole screen. There we go. First of all, we've got quick event here, and this is where you can choose your sessions, so qualifying, practice or race. Now, it must be noted here, this is very important, you can choose to add AI in a practice session if you just want to have one of those, or you can choose to choose your specific AI in a qualifying session. You cannot choose to add any AI in a race session. So if you do want to have a full-on race with different classes of AI cars, you need at least qualifying or practice on as well. You need to have those sessions running, so you add them in that session and then they're all added when you go to the race. Next, you want to go and select your series. And you want to make sure that you have all tracks and cars, which will always be at the top of the list, selected, so you can literally choose any opponents that you like. Then you go and select your track, and I've already got Donington Park selected here, so let's go with that. And then you go and select your car, and so I've got the Infiniti Q50 here, medium speed car, BTCC, so we'll go with that. We then go to edit settings. And here we are, and you can see already that because I've chosen the Infiniti Q50, it's selected a load of Infiniti Q50s for me to race against. And you can either keep them or you can remove them all. I'm going to keep them for the moment because I want another BTC car to race against. Also, very importantly, down here under AI drivers, make sure that is at 0 because we're going to add them when we get to the track. Now, here is your opponent filter, and in here you can select the cars you want to race against, and there are a couple of different ways of doing this. So, for instance, there are a lot of GT3 cars available for rFactor 2, so you've got BMWs, you've got Audis, and you've got Bentleys. Now, you can either select a group of just Bentleys, or you could select a group of just BMWs. I want to be able to select any of the GT3 cars I like, so I'm going to go up here to GT3 and select them all. And it pops in a load of GT3 cars, everything from the Aston Martin to the Bentley to the BMW. They're all in there, along with our Infiniti Q50 that we've already added. So that's that out of the way. GT3s are reasonably fast, so let's go and select something a bit slower. So let's see if I can find the Clio Cup slow hatchbacks. There we go. Not that slow, but slower than the GT3s. So we'll select those, and that's now popped that into our opponent filter. Now, let's have something fast. Let's have some DPIs, i.e. Le Mans style cars. Pop them in there, and you see the Acura DPI is in there. The Cadillac will probably be in there somewhere as well. And then let's go and choose a medium pace car. Let's go for the radicals. Have some radicals in there. And lastly, let's go for an F1 type car. So, or an open wheeler if you like. So we'll go for the Tatus FT50. Add a few of those. And you can add as many as you like, but that's what we're going with for the moment. And now we can come down here and click Start Racing and load up our track. So whilst the track's loading, I'd just like to say welcome back to the channel if you're a subscriber, and thanks for your continued support. If you were involved in the last live stream where we were racing in Automobilista 2, we had a lot of fun, and if you were there, I hope you did too. If you're brand new to the channel, I hope you're enjoying this video. If you find it enjoyable and useful and you want to come back later and reference it, or if you'd like to receive updates on future videos that I produce, or want to be involved in future live streams, click that subscribe button and you'll get a notification every time I do a live stream or make a video. Anyway, here we are at the track, and you can see from our standings here that we've got our Q50 car here for us to drive. Next thing you want to do, and you can see that in live timing as well, but the next thing you want to do is come over to session controls. And remember, you can only add cars in the practice and qualifying sessions, not in the race session. So you want to do this first before you go on to the next session. Now, I think where some of the confusion comes over this is with the Add AI driver. If you just click Add AI driver, as we're going to do now, it's going to add an AI driver, but it could be out of any of the cars we've selected. So it's done that at random. Let's see what we've got. We've got another BTCC car. Maybe I didn't want that. So let's add another one and see if we get something different. So we come back to session controls and add another AI driver. That's added a DPI. But I have no control over which cars it chooses. So come back into session controls. Let's click on those two drivers and click the boot button and get rid of them. Okay. Now what we're going to do is use this section here called Add AI Manually. And now I can choose to add anything that I like. So first of all, I'm going to add a couple of Aston Martin GT3s. So there's two added. And if we come back to watch, you can see I've now got two Aston Martin GTs, exactly what I wanted. So next, let's have a DPI car. So we'll have a couple of Acuras. That's now adding 1 and 2. And come back to our watch screen. We've now got two DPI cars. Okay, exactly what we wanted. Let's have a couple of Clio Cup cars. So let's have 23 and number 24. And you will now see that we've got our Clio Cup cars. Back to session controls, and let's have a couple of our Radical SR3s. Let's have a left-hand drive one and a right-hand drive one, and as you can see, we also have those now. And let's have a couple of our open wheelers. So if I can find them somewhere in here, we've got our Tasis FT50, so let's add a couple of those. Okay, and we've now got a field of all sorts of different cars, and you can add as many as your system will take. And if we go out on track now and click drive, we can come past the garages here. And you'll see, there we go. There's a Tatus. There's an Acura. Another Acura. And if we're lucky, we might be able to catch a couple of cars out on track. There's a Clio in the garage over there. And the blue light's on, so obviously there's a car coming. And there we go. There's one of our Aston Martin GT3s. So there you go. It is literally as simple as that. And this can be useful, say, if you just want a practice session, or you want a track day at the Nordschleife, but you want to populate the grid with all different sorts of speeds of cars. So you've got some interesting traffic to overtake, or if you've got faster cars than yours on track, you can practice how you drive when you're being overtaken by a faster car. So, stop the car there. Come back to our watch screen here. And if we take the cars that aren't in the pits, we can see those out on track. There's a couple of the Aston Martins. The Clios are out there as well. There is one of the Taters out there. And a Radical as well. Isn't that brilliant? Now, let's click back on my car, which is in the pits, just because it's a bit quieter in the pits. So hopefully you can still hear me. If we go to our session controls, we can then finish our practice session. And it'll go to qualify. Obviously, if you let the qualifying session run, then you can use Control X to speed up the time. And you'll see that cars are now flying out of the pits on speeded up time. You can let that run and it will then let the cars qualify. So obviously you're going to have things like the DPIs at the top of the grid and things like the Clios at the bottom of the grid. But I'm not going to let the full qualifying session run. I'm going to stop it right there. So we've got faster cars that still haven't gone out of the pits, that haven't done their laps, just to make things interesting. That's going to hold their qualifying position. They will start on the grid in position 9 or 10, which will make it interesting. We come back to session controls here and finish the qualifying session, and we're now in the race. You'll see now that our add AI drivers and add manually is now greyed out, so you can't add any more cars. Come back to watch here, and we've got a very silly grid here. Luckily the two F1 or Taters cars have ended up at the front of the grid, but we do also have much faster cars at the rear of the grid. And just for fun, let's see what happens when we go for a race with this completely mad grid of cars. So you can see there's the Acuras behind us. We've got Radicals in front, we've got a Clio over here, and we are green. So, overtaking the Clio in our faster car. The Acura's there going for the gap straight away. They're now going to get held up around this corner as I skid off the track there. Terrible driving by me, I do apologise. But they're now going to go off around the track. If we come out of here, we can watch them as they go round. So let's click on different cars. We've got our Taters at the front there. The Aston Martin has moved up a bit, about to be overtaken by the Acura. Let's see if he can make it past. Still stuck behind him. Now I should assume that he's going to go for it now as they hit the straight. And here we go, he's pulling out and is now overtaking the GT3 car. A few sparks flying out the back end. So, there you go. I hope that's been useful. It literally is that simple. If you found it useful and you'd like to come back to this video and use it as reference or have updates on future videos, hit that subscribe button. I hope that's helped you. Happy sim racing. All the best.
If you want this channel to survive, do me a favor and hit subscribe. May seem like a small thing to do, but it enables me to make more videos for you. By hitting that button, you can help us thrive. Subscribe and keep this channel alive. Don't cost nothing, don't take no time. Come on now, keep this channel alive.